This time I'm going to tell you the story about the crafts and industries of India during the British rule, with special emphasis on two particular industries. Firstly, textiles, and secondly, iron and steel. So let's start the story of textile production. Before the British conquered Bengal, India was by far the world's largest producer of cotton textiles around 1750. Indian textiles were well known for their fine quality and exquisite craftsmanship, and they were extensively traded in the regions of Java, Sumatra, Penang in Southeast Asia, West Asia and Central Asia. And from the 16th century, even the European trading companies started buying Indian textiles to sell them in Europe with high profits. And memories of this flourishing trade and the craftsmanship of Indian weavers found mentions in the pages of history written in English as well as in other languages. European traders first got to know about the fine cotton cloth of India from the Arab merchants in Mosul, which is the present-day Iraq. And they started referring to any and every finely woven textile as muslin. One of the textiles that caught fancy of many foreign traders was Jamdani. And till date, Jamdani saris are considered as an exquisite possession. A Jamdani cloth is fine muslin on which decorative motifs are woven on a loom, typically in grey and white. And during those days, often a mixture of cotton and gold threads were used. Dhaka in Bengal and Lucknow in the United Provinces were most important centers of Jamdani weaving. The Portuguese first came to India in search of spices, and on their quest, they landed in Calicut on the Kerala coast in southwest India. Now, along with the spices, the cotton textiles that they took back to Europe became famous as calico. The name calico was derived from Calicut, and subsequently calico became the general name for all cotton textiles. Now let me take the story ahead and tell you how during the British rule various Indian textiles got their names. Take a look at this picture. It is a page from an order book that the English East India Company sent to its representatives in Calcutta in the year 1730. The order that year was for 5,89,000 pieces of cloth. Just imagine. Now notice how each item in the order book was carefully priced in London. Also, take note that these orders had to be placed 2 years in advance, as that was the time required to send orders to India, then get the specific cloth woven and shipped back to Britain. And once the cloth pieces arrived in London, they were put up for auction and being sold. If we further browse through the order book, we can see a list of 98 varieties of cotton and silk clothes. In the European trade, commonly they were known as the piece goods. And usually these were woven cloth pieces at a length of 20 yards and a width of 1 yard. Now let's find out about the various names of the different cloth types from the order. Among the pieces ordered in bulk were printed cotton cloths called chints, kosais or khasa and bandana. Let me tell you from where did the English term chints come from. It is derived from the Hindi word chint, a cloth with small and colorful flowery designs. From the 1680s, there was a craze for printed Indian cotton textiles in England and in Europe. And this was mainly for their exquisite floral designs, fine texture and relative cheapness. Rich people of England, including the Queen herself, wore clothes of Indian fabric. During the mid-19th century, Masulipattnam in Andhra Pradesh was known for the fine chintz cloth production. And fine chintz produced here used to be exported to far-off lands of Iran and Europe. Now the word bandana, that now refers to any brightly colored and printed scarf for the neck or head, originally meant something else. The term was derived from the word bandana, which means tying in Hindi, and it referred to a variety of brightly colored cloth produced through the method of tying and dyeing. Take a look at this picture. It is a picture of a bandana style from the early 20th century. Any guesses why there is a line running through the middle of the odhni? Well, to make this ordni, 2 pieces of tie and dye silk materials are stitched together with gold thread embroidery. But as history tells us, when the English East India Company gained political power in Bengal, it no longer had to import precious metal from Britain to buy the Indian goods. Rather, they collected revenues from peasants and zamindars in India and used this revenue to buy Indian textiles. Now, if you take a closer look at this map here, you will notice that in the early 19th century, textile production was mainly concentrated in 4 regions of India. And Bengal was one of the most important centers. Located along the numerous rivers in the delta, the production centers in Bengal could easily transport goods at distant places. And in the early 19th century, there were no railways and the roads were only just beginning to be laid on an extensive scale. Dhaka in eastern Bengal, now Bangladesh, was the leading textile center of the 18th century, and it was famous for its malmal and Jamdani weaving. Now, if you look at the southern part of India in the map, you will see another cluster of cotton weaving centers along the Coromandel coast, stretching from Madras to the northern Andhra Pradesh. And on the western coast there, important weaving centers were present in Gujarat. Surat in Gujarat on the west coast of India was one of the most important ports for trade via the Indian Ocean. Dutch and English trading ships started using the port from the early 17th century, but its importance declined in the 18th century. After understanding the vast networks of weavers in then India, we are now going to end this video. In the next video, we will find out how the development of textile industries in Britain affected the Indian weavers and what happened when the English industrialists got into iron and steel production. Until then, you take care. Bye.
Tutormate. For more amazing video lectures, download the free app on Apple App Store or Google Play Store